Hey everybody, I'm Rick from the Tractor Company. Today we're going to talk a little bit about lift capacity and horsepower, and then we're going to do a little bit of a showdown to see what our tractors can lift. We have the Mahindra 1635 here, the LS MT232E, and we have a fresh trade-in. Customer said he couldn't lift enough, so he traded in. That's the 37 horsepower John Deere 2038R. And we have our 24 horsepower Kioti CK2620. And at the end, we have our 26 horsepower Mahindra 1626. A lot of customers that come in and they say, I need 40 horsepower. And so we ask, well, why do you need 40 horsepower? Well, my neighbor says I need 40 horsepower. Well, maybe you do and maybe you don't. We're going to look at a couple of reasons why you might need 40 horsepower and maybe you don't. We also get a lot of customers, they want to lift round bales. And they say, I need to lift 1,200 pounds. Maybe they don't understand why a tractor that has a loader rating of 1,200 pounds can't lift the round bale. Well, let's have a look at that first. When manufacturers rate lift capacity on a front end loader, they rate it at the lift pins. So this John Deere here is rated at 1,120 pounds. But that is at the pivot point. So at your pins. As soon as you stick farther out, you reduce your front end loader lift capacity. So that's rated 1,120 pounds to full height. And we have a pallet here that on our scale weighed 1,100 pounds. So we're going to see what happens when we try these tractors out lifting this pallet. The other thing is, if your tractor doesn't weigh enough, 40 horsepower doesn't do you as much good. So this John Deere weighs, I believe, 2,900 pounds, which is a fairly nice heavy tractor. But if it only weighed 2,400 pounds, you can do a lot less work with that 40 horsepower. So you do need more weight on your tractor to get your horsepower to the ground, give you the stability and traction. So why don't we get on these tractors and we'll see what they can lift.
All right, lift one with the John Deere. I'll throttle up. All right, we're getting it about a foot off the ground or so. So 1,100 pounds. That's all it's got. Feels stable still. So good enough to move an 1,100 pound pallet, but you can't really load it onto a truck or anything like that.
Alright, the Kioti CK2620. All of our tractors will have a skid steer quick attach
Bucket on them, so they are universal quick attach. The John Deere has their proprietary John Deere quick attach, or the Euro style. Let's throttle up here. This tractor is a fair bit lighter than the John Deere. Oh, back end comes off right away. Lifting's not a problem, but tractor weight, as I was mentioning earlier, is going to limit how much I can lift. Was I in all the way? I think I was, yeah. Lots of lift capacity, just not enough weight on the back end. All right, here we are on the 1626. Tractor is fully built by Mitsubishi in Japan. Lifts it easily. Oh, and there my back end's gonna go. So again, lift capacity, no problem. Yeah, it wasn't even straining at all, but we need to add rear ballast if we want to lift this kind of weight. All right, here we're on the little bit bigger LS tractor. LS probably some of the best dollar to weight ratio. Lifts it quite easily. Again, needs rear ballast. So you can imagine if you had a front bale on here, it's going to do the same thing, right? A big round bale. All right, here we are on the Mahindra 1635. Same horsepower as the John Deere. I'll get a little more RPM. Lifts it quite easily. And we won't go to tipping point on this one. So there's just a brief overview of the difference between lift capacities, weight of tractor. There's a fair number of variables that affect what your tractor can do. So one reason that we're very happy to be selling Mahindra, LS tractor, and Kioti tractors. All right, so we've shifted some of the weight to the far end of the pallet. So we have the same weight, just different center point of the weight. We'll see what happens now when we try to lift it. Okay, so the John Deere cannot lift it. Also cannot get to tipping point with loader lift capacity. The hydraulics just are not strong enough for that. All right, so we've added some rear ballast to the Mahindra 1635 and the same pallet that the John Deere could not lift. Let's see what the Mahindra does. I'm lifting quite slow and handles it quite nicely. Tractor's stable, no problem lifting this pallet. All right, 1635, or sorry, MT232. See what it can do. Yeah, lifts it quite easily. Let's try the Kioti. All right, here we are, Kioti CK2620. All right, lifts it quite easily, maybe strained a little bit more. Only running at 2,000 RPM, so we got a long way to go that way. And let's try the 1626. All right, and the 1626, which I already know will easily lift this. I won't even throttle up for this. A little slow. Give it some revs and see what happens. There we are. They all lifted it. All right, so we've added some weight. 1626 could barely lift this with one backhoe bucket added. It couldn't even really lift it, but it could get it off the ground barely. And so now we're going to see what the CK2620 does with 4 backhoe buckets, which is roughly 400 pounds. So approximately 1,500 pounds on this pallet. All right, let's see what this thing can do. So I'm not even throttled up, and it is lifting it. See what happens when I throttle up. About the same, so excellent hydraulics on the Kioti CK series.
All right, let's try the LS MT232. Definitely a bigger tractor. But yeah, it lifts it quite easily at idle. So really good. We're going to have to compare it to the 1635 and see what that looks like. This pallet actually scaled in at just under 1,400 pounds.
All right, here we go with the 1635. Did not lift it. Quite surprised, maybe just getting it off the ground, but not nearly what the LS and the Kioti have. All right, now we know.